y'all. Well, we're back on a whole new feed. I was in the middle of part 1 of making a tote bag, and the whole system with the storm and everything just went boop. So we have just started a new stream. So for those of you that were on the other one with me, I hope you find this one and can pop on over. We're now going to call this part 2 of the tote bag. We'll see what we could do with what's going on here with the storms here in Arkansas, okay? Quilt Husband is over here trying to get it going, so we'll have to cut and paste everything that was in the old one, the old live stream that I was on initially. We'll have to cut and paste all of that into the description box below here. We'll do that after the fact, but we're having storms here in Arkansas, so I apologize for those of you that were watching part 1 and everything just went down. Everything just went down. So if you're back here with me, let me know. Let me know in the feed if you're back here with me. We'll pick up where we left off. Probably a lot of people that are clicking on YouTube or on Facebook and Instagram are going to get the old link, and it's going to cut off in the middle of the video. So I apologize for those of you that this has happened to. It's live, right? In the middle of the storms here in Arkansas. We've never had a season this rainy. We've had rain, so much rain from March to now we're the middle of June. It's unbelievable, unbelievable. All right, nobody's in the chat, so I'm not sure if you guys, okay. Yeah, if you guys are coming in, let me know. I'm gonna pick up where I left off when everything went down. So we're back. We just fired up a live stream, and we'll just kind of keep on going. Okay, so where we were before the system all went down with the storm is we were in the middle of cutting out the center for our flower here, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and just cut, this is the fusible that we need for this. Just set this over to the side. We got squirrels. Can y'all hear the squirrels out there jumping on my screen? I've got a bird feeder out here, and the birds love it, but the squirrels just want to get in there and eat it all. Okay, so now we have the flower here. So I've traced this on here. Let me zoom in just a little bit. There we go. So I've traced this on here, and then also I've traced that on here. So we're gonna sew through all of this. I'm gonna do right sides together. So get the bumpy side to pretty side. And then I'm gonna take this over to the sewing machine and sew around it. So this is gonna be what we applique to the front of the tote bag. And so we have to be able to do that. I'm gonna ask Quilt Husband if maybe I need to pull up a new chat feed, because the chat feed over here is the old one. So I'll let him work on that. All right, I'm gonna go over to the sewing machine, and we will get this sewing. And I'm probably not gonna be able to see the feed over here on YouTube, so apologize y'all, because we don't have the new one on the tablet. What a day, what a day. Okay, it's not gonna matter that I'm using green, I've got green thread in here. I better change it out. I had the green thread in here and black in the bottom. I'm gonna change it out just in case. I don't really want that to be shown. So we'll just set that aside. We're gonna take out the black for the bobbin and the green, and we're gonna put back in kind of this cream color here. Man, I'll tell you what, y'all, when this kind of stuff happens, it just kind of throws you off. Just kind of makes your brain go in crisis mode. I don't think there's going to be any way to splice both of these videos together either for people when they find it. But that's life. That's how this stuff happens sometimes. Are you sure we're good, babe? We're live? Okay. Quilt husband says yes. Just hope those of you that were here can find this new feed. I probably should have checked the weather, but when I scheduled this like 2 days ago, there was not supposed to be any rain today, y'all. And then all of a sudden, just these pop-up storms, just boom. So if you're just chiming in, you're like, what on earth is this person doing? I was in the middle of a live stream on how to make a tote bag using French seams. And we're having storms, and everything just went bloop. It just all went down. So let's get my other ivory colored thread for the bobbin. So anyway, we had to pop up just like a new stream here to pick up where we left off. And where is that other? Let me find the other bobbin color. There it is. All right. I'm going to put this color in down here. I'm going to have to change it again when I go to sew the tote, but I think the green and the black would have been a little too much to actually be piecing with on this light color material, so I'll have to change it. All right, we're all set. So I'm just going to stitch around this, and we're doing the flower that's going to be on my tote bag. I'm going to do a little longer of a stitch. And then I always do one stitch over and then come back up. That makes it a lot easier for whenever we flip this little flower right side out. And the fusible is really nice. The reason I like to use the fusible from Heat and Bond is because it keeps it in place when I go to press it on my fabric. So for me, this is going to be on the front of the tote bag, and it stays in place. If I just pin it on there to stitch it down, sometimes the fabric shifts, the flower shifts, and it's not facing like the way I had it placed. So I like to use the fusible, but also I don't want the raw edges on this. This is not one. I mean, I absolutely could use this and make a raw edge kind of shabby chic one, but with this fabric being so shiny and the sateen cotton, I just feel like I don't want the raw edges on this, so I'm going to actually do it this way. So did everybody make it back in, Quilt Husband?
There's 14 in now.
Okay. Sorry, y'all. I just we're trying to pull up the chat since we had to like start a whole new stream when the storm knocked everything out. So if you're talking to me, I can't see it quite yet till we get that part pulled up. But thanks for hanging in there for those of you guys that were like, where'd Belle go? I gave the disclaimer at the front of that first live stream there a few minutes ago. It could go out with the storms here. I think it was maybe not before last. There were, in Arkansas, northwest corner of Arkansas, one hit an area and ripped roofs off houses. It was pretty bad, and it happened in the middle of the night. I mean, it's a little scary when these storms, I used to never think anything about it when these thunderstorms would happen, but we've had so much destruction just throughout the country this spring. And if I'm right, tomorrow's the first day of summer, so hopefully all of this stops. We're just having too much drama and trauma in the world right now. Okay, we've almost got this sewn all the way around. Okay, for those of you just joining, you're on Thread Life with Belle. And this is where I get on, and some days I show you how to do something. Some days it's like a tutorial. Some days it's just like, hey, we're gonna work on UFOs together. Today I'm showing you part 1, or this could be part 2 because we had to start a second stream, of how to make a tote bag with French seams. And I'm actually doing this cute little flower on mine. So we have to do this first before we can even like cut the material. Well, I shouldn't say have to, but I want to get this to where I can press it on there first on my bag before we actually like go to assemble it. And I'm gonna be quilting it on my Baby Lock Sashiko. So that'll be another part of this tutorial. So you can always skip that one when I record that one on a live, but if you just want to see how the machine works, a lot of people just come to watch. I'll put a thumbnail up when I'm going to do that one. Probably will be Saturday. And then we'll do one more where we actually assemble the tote bag. So this is going to be a little bit of a series for this one. This is also my first Aurifil artisan project, using the Aurifil thread for everything in this one, so I'm excited about it. All right, we've got that sewn. All right, now we're gonna get this cut out and turn right side out. Oh, all right, here we are, everybody. Y'all are back with me. Not sure where there it is, the mouse went, so I can see what's going on. Okay. Let's see here. Y'all are back. Oh, y'all are so loyal to come back and find me. Okay, Lisa, you lost all your internet in the house. So let me tell you what happened at 11 o'clock today with my other business. Like, I had a dress on, like a dress and everything. I was on Zoom, and I was doing like a training for 2 hours with my other business. And literally 30 minutes before I was supposed to do that, and that was like a paid gig. It had been scheduled and all of that. The electricity goes out. So I find the guys down the road working on the pole. I'm like, listen, like, I work from home with both my businesses. Like, there was no warning of this. They're like, it'll be back up in like an hour. Well, it came back on literally right when that one started. And now we've got this storm going on. And I was like, oh no, I've got a YouTube live today. So Lisa, yeah, Arkansas is just crazy right now with these storms. Okay. And the other Lisa, you got the pop-up I was going live. Well, good. So that may happen from time to time, y'all. Like, if there's storms or whatever and it just goes down, I just have to start a new one. Hey, Barbara. Welcome here. Let's see. We have a chance of severe weather in Mississippi. I know, it's crazy. Trish, I'm glad you like the angle on the machine. We kind of adjusted it slightly. All right. Everybody's back. Everybody's back. Okay, here we go. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take all of these pins out, and now we're going to cut this out. And we're going to leave 1/4 of an inch around the edge here. So this is where I started before. We're going to leave about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm just going to cut around here. This fabric, y'all, oh, it's so shiny and pretty. Let me pop out a little bit so you're not seeing my head. There we go. I tell you what, Quilt Husband, he saves the day. He didn't have a bunch going on. He got all his, he runs 2 businesses from home, and he has a separate, like a studio like this, he has a separate one, only his is gray inside. And I call it the dungeon. He has 1 window. But he got all his work done earlier today, so he's like, I'll hang out with you the whole time. And then when we saw it started storming, it was like, whoo, definitely glad he was in here. So now we know what to do. So it would not let me restart the live stream, y'all, that I had set up with the thumbnail. It wouldn't let me like restart that one. We had to just like start a whole new live stream for this. So First time for that, but I'm glad something popped up that said I was going live so you guys knew just to pop on this new link. That was good. Everybody else on Instagram and Facebook that sees the post, they're going to be like, what happened? Because now they don't have this link. But things happen, right? Okay. So I'm curious to know, do y'all make tote bags? Do you like to make tote bags? I call them palette cleansers. I have a lot of them. I've actually gotten to where some of them I'm actually just putting in the art gallery to sell because I don't need any more. But when I make them for like demos or classes, you know, it's like, what do you do with all of that? Well, I'm starting to sell them. But this one is going to be a gift. Okay, so now we're cutting right up to the edge, but not through the stitch there. It's right up to the edge, but not through it. That'll help us when we turn it right side out. Yeah, I love tote bags too, especially like with orphan blocks, Gina. Yeah, Quilt Husband is making his money today. Well, you know, it's like I didn't want to cancel last minute when I saw the storm was coming. It's like some people may have adjusted their schedules to try to catch this today. I feel like I should delete that on my Facebook, y'all. People are going to be clicking going, that looks unprofessional. We watched 25 minutes of her tote bag video and it just went dead. You do the French seams and lined also. It can get a little thick. Yeah, it can get a little thick, depending on how thick your batting is. This machine actually works. So my semi-industrial is like a workhorse. There's no problem at all. This one's got the dual feed, so it goes through it, which is no problem. Yeah, Shelly, life happens. It does. It just happens. You guys are so understanding. You get a little crazy with it, Lisa, your French seams. It just looks so nice. The inside of the bag just looks so nice. I was trying to think, yeah, let me grab mine. I'll grab one right here and you guys can see it because you're not going to get to see the finished one today because this is going to be a series. But if you don't know what I'm talking about with French seams, I guess I should have done that to begin with. This is the inside of the tote here. Okay. So these are French seams. So what happens is we actually sew down on the edge of the tote with the right sides facing out. Then you turn it right side out and sew it again from the inside, and then you get this really nice finished French seams. But the way I do this tote here, this is all one piece that's opened up, and we fold it in half. So you've got your bottom layer, which is your front and your back, which also is connected to batting if you've quilted it. And then you've got your lining laying on top of that. We also put our straps in and we just kind of sew it all at once. So yeah, it's definitely a lot easier way to do it in my opinion. So that's definitely my way for sure. SF100. What's SF100, Lisa? Okay, I've got that cut. Now I'm going to cut the back here, and that way we can turn it right side out. And let me get my point turner. Quilt Husband, it says error. YouTube is not something right here.
It's okay, yeah, you're okay.
Okay. Y'all, I don't know. Quilt Husband says this all has to do with Mercury retrograde. Whatever that is. Oh, interfacing with Pellon. You use that for your bags? Yeah, and I've also used I've also used fusible fleece before, batting, some of the foam. I've used some of the foam before by Pellon, but I haven't tried the, I don't know if I've exactly tried that one, Lisa. Can't remember. I try so much stuff, use so much stuff, sometimes it all kind of runs together, but I usually have pieces of leftover batting, a lot of that. So for this one, I'm going to use batting to quilt it for sure. Okay, so what I'm doing right now is I'm just turning my little flower right side out. Just poking everything out because we'll be pressing this down to the front of the bag in a bit. We'll set that to the side. So I'm going to do the same thing with the flower center. So let me tell you what I finished up this week. I finished up my second fabric collection, and that will come out next summer. And I'm really excited about it. It's actually, it's a novelty collection that hasn't been done before. And it's one that I thought, like, well, I say it hasn't been done before. There's nothing we could find on the internet, maybe 30 or 40 years ago, but it's a surprise, so I'm not going to tell you exactly what, but it is something that is a theme that I felt needed to exist. So anyway, I'm really excited about that one. So that one, I think they start showing it as far as like photos and all that kind of stuff, I believe in the spring, and then it hits fabric shops in the summer, I think is how that works. So it's basically finished. The only thing that I have left to do is to name the prints. So we get to name, you know, what we want them to be. So I've got to go through and name those. And then that one will be ready. And believe it or not, I've already got stuff in the works for the third collection. And it will be more of a, we'll have a little bit more earthy colors in that one. It's a nature type theme for that one, the third one. I'm just trying to get a bunch of stuff done before I'm out for surgery. So, Trish, you're getting audio going in and out. I don't know. Not sure. I guess people can let me know. We've got storms going on here, so it just may maybe one of those days. Quilt Husband says he can hear it. He's testing it on his phone. Starting to crackle. Hope we don't lose you again. Okay, now Lisa's having trouble too. Not sure. You guys just let me know in the chat. Okay, there's the center. We got the center. Isn't that going to be cute? It'll look like that. Looks like a little daisy. Okay, I'm going to set this aside. Now we're ready to cut out, I'm going to move some of this out of the way. Now we're ready to cut out the lining and what's going to be the top and the back of the bag, the front and the back of the bag. So let me move this other stuff out of the way. And let's get the top here of it. And I think we're going to need to press a little bit before we do that. Okay, Christy, I'm glad. Thanks for the update. Isn't this pretty, this Kelly green? I think it's pretty. Redheads usually do pretty good with green. I was like, oh, this would be a pretty skirt, wouldn't it? All right, so for the lining here, or I'm sorry, for the, well, actually for both pieces, it's a yard, it's a half a yard is what you need. So a half for what's gonna be the front that we need. Now your lining is actually gonna be a little bit shorter than Okay, this is the wrong side. Can y'all see that shine? So there is a right and a wrong side to this. This is the first time to work with this fabric. This is the pretty right side. Man, that's gorgeous. Reminds me of like prom dress material, but it's not, it's cotton. And this is the wrong side, so that is good to know. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a starch here. And man, I don't know. I wonder if I'll have enough to make a skirt out of this. This is beautiful. I could do patchwork. I could do like white and green and make like a check. Wouldn't that be cute? Well, I'm gonna use a like a tablecloth. And I guess it would help if the iron was on. I'm gonna use a tablecloth to give it a try for the first time. And if all goes well, I might do a live once I get the hang of making them. I'll make a couple. Like I've got, like, you can use old sheets, the top sheet, not the one that you sleep on, but use a top sheet to practice. You can go to, like, you know me, I go to thrift stores and get, you know, all kinds of stuff. So I'm gonna practice. That's what I'm gonna do. You could even use muslin. I've got muslin too. Practice and then use the good stuff. Then I will use the good stuff. Okay, I think we've got about half a yard here. 36 inches pressed, maybe a little bit more. So we need the 36 inches. That's what you're gonna cut. And if you've got a cutting mat that is 36 inches long, then you're able to all cut it on your mat. All right. So that is what we're gonna do. Can y'all hear the thunder? It's like it's angry. It's like the skies are angry. Well, so we're growing tomatoes this year, y'all. So excited. We spent all this time and energy. We did raised beds in these cute little galvanized green containers. Went and got the compost. The compost we use is actually the leaf compost, not the like sewer compost, whatever. You have an option. There's like 2 kinds. Even though they clean the sewer water, I just didn't really want to do that. So anyway, we did all that. We've got peppers and we've got different types of tomatoes that are going on. But the fire ants found one. And what happens is, because of all this rain that we've gotten, some of the tomatoes are cracking. And so one of them was ruined. The ants got in there and just ate the inside of it out. I was so upset, because what we're gonna do is we are waiting to make caprese salad with the mozzarella. I've got fresh basil growing, and then I want the tomato, and then I'm making sourdough bread. And I want to do it all from scratch. But these darn ants, I tell you what. So Quilt Husband did some research, and we got some stuff to try to, you know, natural to keep them off. So that'll be good. Okay, we're cutting the outer piece here. And it's basically 18 by 36 inches. Now I'm just going ahead and cutting at the 36 inch mark here, and then I'll have to cut it down from there, okay? So you'll have some left over for a pocket if you want the same color, or if you want I'm gonna actually use a piece of the green to be the inside pocket of the line on the lining, which is actually this kind of linen. Oh, Shelly, you found another milk glass pincushion yesterday at a thrift store? That is fabulous. Yeah, scoop those babies up when you find them at the thrift store. Usually you don't find one that often, so it takes a little bit. That's why whenever I make one and sell it, I don't sell it dirt cheap, because they are kind of sometimes hard to find. So, yeah. All right, so we've got this cut. I don't know what's going on with this yellow alert I'm getting. Okay. All right. Okay, so now we've got this. So now this needs to be cut down to 18 by 36. So we are gonna do, it's 36 this way, and now I need to do 18. So I'm actually gonna go ahead and fold it in half. I know some people don't like to do this because it can leave a little bump in it, but my cutting mat is not quite big enough to open all that up. Is that right? Is that right, y'all? Yeah. Get that all lined up, and we're gonna cut it at the 18. Oh, you got the large one, Shelly? Those are really hard to find. The smaller ones are easier, the larger ones are harder to find. I'm second guessing myself, y'all. Making sure that's right. Okay, there'll be enough there for a pocket. All right. So 36. It's still too big. About 18. It's still too big. Cut it this way. I folded it the wrong way. This is when I need one of those great big mats. I'm gonna have to go press this because that crease is gonna cause problems. I really need one of those great big mats for whenever it's large, these great big larger pieces with the yardage. But I just have to make it work. Get that crease out of there. Yeah, the larger ones, Quill Husband and I haven't gone really flea marketing or thrifting, gosh, probably in what, has it been a couple months? Because I've been so busy. It's been a while. So yeah, okay, let's try this again. So we've got 36, now we're gonna cut it at the 18. We're gonna cut it at the 18 now. Then we will have it correct. Okay. $18. Okay, there is basically the top and the bottom of our bag. So I'm gonna give this one more really good press. I'm gonna put this extra fabric to the side. And then we'll figure out, I'm gonna show you kind of how you figure out, because this is all one piece, you have to kind of figure out where the middle's gonna be to make sure you applique it like in the place you wanna applique it. And you have to think about, am I gonna square the bottom of my tote? Or am I just gonna leave it flat? So, you know, normally with totes, a lot of people have like the front and the back that are not all one piece. So this is slightly different. All right, so what I'm gonna do here, let me zoom out. What I'm gonna do here is this is the outside of the fabric here. It's shinier. I don't know if you can see the shine. This is the inside. I'm actually gonna fold it in half, and that way I'll know about where I want to applique my flower on. Okay, so this is what it's gonna be like. Okay, this is where the straps are gonna go. This is the bottom of your tote, but see, it's all one piece, so there's not gonna be a seam down here. But when you make it boxy here, you know, we will be cutting that out. So I have to figure out, you know, where do I want this flower to go on here? And I'll pin it, well, I say I'll pin it for a second, and then when I get it over to the pressing station, I'm gonna press it down to keep it in place. And then we'll just kind of set that to the side when we cut our lining. The lining's gonna be a little bit smaller. Make sure all that's completely turned around. I love caprese salad too, Lisa. Quilt Husband, I get that for appetizers a lot when we go out to eat, but here's the deal. I don't like tomatoes from the grocery store. I feel like they're plastic. They're pink, they're not really red. They don't taste like flavorful, like homegrown tomatoes, so honestly, I don't buy them. I don't really eat tomatoes. I'll like pick them off of stuff because they just don't taste good to me at all. So we don't really buy them, and so I was like, I really wanna grow my own this year. And normally in the past when I lived like in the city before, I would just get them off like a roadside stand or something if they had them, the farmer's market. Yeah, no flavor, 0 flavor. So, but these ants, so I think Quilt Husband like found what's gonna work. Cinnamon and, what is it, the other thing?
Dichotomous earth or something like that.
Some kind of dichotomous earth or something. It smelled pretty bad. But you have to wait for it to quit raining because it washes all the stuff off. So it's been quite the time here with all the weather and everything. Okay, I just have to make sure that is all like really good. Okay, so what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna take this over to the pressing station because it can be right there to be able to press it. Isn't that gonna be cute? It's like a daisy with green grass. And what I'll be doing after we kind of get everything cut and ready to go for the next session, I'll be doing some fun quilting. And I'll have to decide kind of like how I want to do the quilting on here with the Sashiko. I don't know if I'm just going to keep like going out bigger and bigger and bigger like a flower, or if I'm going to do some lines. Like, I'm not exactly sure how I'm going to do that, but I am going to. Okay, let's go on over to the pressing station. Hey, Linda. Oh, I'm glad you're here. Linda, well, here's the deal. The first live stream, we're having storms again, and it just went down, like the whole thing went down. So we just had to like fire up another live stream that wasn't like scheduled, hoping that all of you guys would like know what to do and find it. So we're in the middle of, I am making a tote bag that involves French seams. So right now I'm trying to figure out exactly where I want to fuse this flower. This tote bag is gonna be for my OBGYN's nurse that is just a rock star. So what do you want to keep in mind is we're going to be cutting out the square. There's going to be a square down here, right? We're going to cut out the square to do our boxy corners. So I want this to be up a bit more, because what's going to happen is when you do that, that's going to bring kind of the bottom of the bag kind of slightly up a little bit. I don't want any of this to get cut off. So you kind of have to think about that. Oh my gosh, I may have to make one of these for me. Okay. Now, I'm gonna eyeball this. Second guess, I probably should measure it. Let's get my ruler here. Make sure I'm same on both. So what do we got? We got 5 inches here, almost 5 inches. Let's see what we've got here. Ooh, nope, gotta come over more that way. We're gonna have to do about 4.5. Let's do 4.5. And this is just where it depends on what y'all like. That's at 5, we gotta come over a little bit more. And where you want it placed. So there's 4 3/4. Let's see what this is. that is almost 4 3/4, just a hair over. Yeah, okay, it's gonna go right there. So I'm gonna press this down. Double check it. Making sure it's where I like it. What do y'all think? Man, can y'all hear that thunder, y'all? It sounds like the sky's belly is growling. It actually makes me a little anxious. Okay, so now we're just gonna press all this down. Gonna have to kind of hold it in place. Get all these wrinkles out. And I like to use the fusible because it'll keep it in place till I'm ready like to quilt it. I don't have to worry about it shifting around. What are y'all doing today? Are y'all in your studios? Are y'all sewing today on a Thursday? Okay, I think that's all down pretty good. Very nice. Okay, now, this is kind of warm, so I don't want to set it down too quickly. Gonna figure out where I want that to be. Normally you fold these in half, make a line in the middle whenever you're lining it up on your block that you've pieced, but we didn't piece a block. We're just using the flower. So, I think I like it about right there. Boom. It's gonna press that baby down. Are you giggling over there?
Brenda says she's supposed to be cleaning.
Brenda says you're supposed to be cleaning. There are memes and stuff about that, Brenda. We're supposed to be doing our chores, but we're out in the garden instead. We're out sewing. Honestly, y'all, my floors need to be swept and mopped. Quilt husband vacuumed the other day, but I need to like bleach my bathroom floors because the architect that actually built this house, they used white tile in the bathroom. And the only way to clean it in the grout is with bleach. And I've been needing to do that for a bit. All right, ta-da, look at that daisy. Look at that daisy on there. Isn't that darling? Okay, y'all, it's like pouring down again. Hope I don't lose y'all.
Shelly's binding a quilt.
Shelly, you're binding. Are you like doing it on your machine or are you like sewing it by hand? Okay, there we go. So we're, for now, just gonna set this aside and we're gonna cut out our lining, okay? Isn't that pretty? I'm excited. I think she's gonna like it. I think she's gonna like it. So I went up just a little bit higher since I'm actually gonna be doing the boxed corners. You can't multitask, Lisa. You know, I can't either when I'm in here sewing, and it's actually sometimes hard for me, honestly, with the lives. When I have to concentrate and I'm talking or explaining, at times I can get a little bit like, so I have to stop talking. Okay, you've got white tile too, Lisa? I was like, it was funny, I met the architect. He's like, still lives in the area. And it's, you know, the home was built in like 1984. And it's funny, I asked her, I said, can I ask you a question? The wife, I said, what made y'all get white tile? She's like, I don't know. She's like, I always use bleach. It's like, yeah, that's what I have to use. Okay, now the lining. I'm actually using, this is like a linen. It's a thicker linen. It's really soft. I got this at like secondhand. I think this came from a yard sale or a flea market or something. It was like a big bolt of it, and I've been using it. I've started using it for the lining of my bags. I just like how it feels. And I also didn't want to use the really, really pretty fabric for the inside of the lining of the bag either. Here's the thing about me with totes. I don't like to use dark lining because I can't see all my stuff in my bag. So I always use a lighter color. Now you do run the risk of it getting dirty if your lipstick opens up or something spills in there. So there is that. But I can't see, like at night and I'm trying to dig in my purse or my bag, my tote, darker stuff inside just doesn't work well for Belle. So I like to use the lighter fabric. So I've been using this. It's also, you know, it's half a yard. So it's like people usually don't see this. So I don't want to use like really nice expensive fabric usually. Now, I probably will make one with my new fabric and I will use my own fabric for the lining. But for this, I'm gonna do it this way. Oh, and gosh, I need to press it. So I'm gonna press it, but for this lining here, this is actually gonna be 18 by 34. Okay, so our front and back one piece was 18 by 36. This is gonna be 18 by 34. And that's because it's gonna be tucked under there's a fold that we're gonna make on both sides for the top of our tote, and it's gonna be tucked under there. Now, sometimes you might have to trim it just a little bit more, but 34 inches usually works. So I'm gonna go ahead and press this. Now, sometimes because this linen is a little shifty, it's a woven, it'll wanna shift a little bit. So I definitely starch pretty good on this. I think I heard someone say there was like a hurricane somewhere happening. It's in Mexico. Gosh, that's just pretty bad. Y'all, this weather, I tell ya, just one thing after another. We've actually got to go through our go bags. We have like, my husband calls them bug out bags. I call them go bags that have like, you know, important documents, a couple of changes of clothes, you know, a few toiletries and stuff like that. Like, you know, in the event that it's like you've got to hurry up and like get out, your house is on fire or whatever, you can just grab those things. And we haven't updated ours in like 5 years. And I think that maybe some of the peanut butter might be expired. Like we have like stuff that you can just eat, like cans of tuna and stuff if you had to. And you never know what's going on. Who knows what goes on sometimes. But I'm gonna have to go through and change out, I think, some of the clothes because I don't think I can wear them. Do y'all have go bags? Or do you call them something else? Do you call them bug out bags? Let's see, what did I miss? You're machine binding it, okay. You'll break needles because you don't pay attention, Lisa? Okay. We're gonna cut this one. Hmm? You lost the video.
No.
When did I forget to switch it?
When you're at the pressing station.
Oh, sorry, y'all. I'm a little off. I'll be honest. The whole thing going down earlier, it really kind of like threw me off when all of that happened. I'd like to say I was just calm and no problem. I was just like, oh no. It's just, yeah. So it kind of like threw me off. The cortisol dump happens, all of that. So, yeah, that's just, it is what it is. Sometimes I forget. Okay, we've got 36 inches here. I actually need to do 34, so I need to bring this down a little bit. Yeah, sometimes when stuff happens, like, I think I told y'all I have a little bit of anxiety. And when stuff like that happens, my brain just kind of short circuits a little bit. And so I don't feel as like sharp as I did when I started the tutorial in the beginning when all that happened. It was a little scary with the storm. Okay, so now I need to go down here and I've got to cut this off at 34 inches. So just remember, it's 2 inches shorter than before. Okay, so there we've got our 36. And we need it to be 18. I hate cutting down large pieces of fabric, y'all. But that's the only part that's a little tricky sometimes, is cutting that down. Let's see what it is that way. Okay, 36. Now we're going to refold it the other direction and cut it by 18. I'm going to have to press that seam again. So you open it back up and fold it the other. That right there would cause my cutting to be off just a little bit. Okay, everybody on here, did y'all get your sticker? If y'all came in late and you didn't hear me, there's a new feature on my channel that like I qualified for. And we can communicate with each other, like when I'm not live, if you're a Threadmaster member. And so I posted on there and asked if everybody got their sticker. And one person had not, but she had not sent me her email, or her address, so I got that. So for those of you that are Threadmaster members, Linda, I don't think I have your address, Linda. I don't think you've sent it to me. And so if you haven't, email that to me. There's actually a link. I'll have Quilt Husband drop the link in there. It's the link, the form to get their addresses so they can get their free Thread Life with Belle sticker. Okay, where's the 18 here? All right, here's our lining. Double check everything. Fold this up. I think there's actually enough there to make one more at some point. Let me double check this down here. Yep, 34 by 18. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna kind of show you how this works, but we're not gonna sew it together today because I've got to quilt this top here. But ultimately, what will happen is you're gonna lay this out like your tote bag actually would look. So you're gonna have right side down, okay? Just pretend that your tote is like being opened up, right, if it wasn't sewn together. So this is the front of the tote, okay? This is the back of the tote back here. You could even do another flower actually on the back. You know, I might do that. When this is over, I might actually applique and put another flower on the back. I may do that. I'm not sure. So that lays like this, okay? And then this one is gonna lay. Now there's not a right or a wrong side on this, so it's not a big deal. But this one is actually gonna lay, it would be pretty side up on this one, okay? So just imagine that this is your tote, all right? Because it's actually gonna go together like this. Pretend we've sewed it all together, all right? So this is how it's gonna look. Boy, you can see that shine, can't you? So that's your inside of your tote. So pretty side up, pretty side down for this one. All right, does that make sense? That's how it's gonna go. No, we're not gonna stitch it right now because we've got to put our pocket on our lining, and I still have to quilt the outside, so we'll have to pick up on that one probably Saturday to finish it. But you'll notice on each end, it's short, and it's supposed to be, because ultimately what'll happen is we're gonna do 2 folds over like this, and then our strap here is gonna go underneath here like this, okay? We're gonna be stitching down, and then we flip this up here like this, and then we do another stitch here, which will be nice. And then we're gonna do the French seams on the sides. So just kind of give you a little bit of a heads up on, you're like, what on earth is going on with this? This is kind of how it works. So right now, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna cut our pocket, and we're gonna go ahead and sew the pocket to the lining, so that will actually all be ready. Now, you can make your pocket however you wanna make your pocket. Linda, you know what, if you did, I'll go back and search, Linda, and see if you sent that to me, and I just may have missed it. So I apologize if I missed your email, and I'll get that sticker mailed out to you. I have one other person I'm mailing one out to tomorrow. Okay, I told you there was extra fabric. Where is that extra fabric? Let's see how big this piece is. You can decide how big you want your pocket to be. This is not enough really fabric, because I'm gonna want my pocket to be deeper than this. So I'm not gonna use this, I'll save it for something else. Because by the time I do the seam allowance, I want it to be a little bit deeper. So I'm not gonna use this piece here. I'll save it for something else, but this piece here I am. So for your pockets, you're gonna have to kind of decide, you know, how big you want it to be. So the way I do my pocket is I just fold it over, okay? And figure out, how big do I want my pocket to be? On this one. And I actually do, I usually cut mine at 9 inches right here. 9 by 6 is what I typically do. I might do a little deeper for her. I might do 9 by 7. I think I'm gonna do 9 by 7 on this one. Yeah. So I'm actually just gonna kind of cut mine a little weird. I'm actually gonna cut it like this. Where's the 9? Because I don't want to like waste this good fabric, so I'm actually gonna just kind of cut what I need rather than like cut it the whole way up and I don't have as much. So I'm gonna do 9 by 7, and it's doubled over, okay? Like this. So this is gonna be a nice size pocket. The phone can fit in here for a 9 by 7, like this, 9 by 7. And you actually could put it in like this, even with this folding down, it's still gonna stay in there really well. So 9 by 7 is really kind of my favorite size. So I don't like whenever you have a pocket on your tote and you see the wrong side of the fabric down in there, you know, like when you open it up and it's like ugly. So that's why I double mine over. I do a double over. And then I actually sew all the way around it, and then turn it right side out and do it that way. So that might be a little different way than a lot of people do it. It's just kind of how I like to do it. But you make your pocket however you want to make it. So that's what I'm going to do. So I need to make sure, though, I've got the right side. So this is the shiny side. So that is going to be on the inside. So I'm going to make sure that the ugly side is on the outside. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it to the sewing machine, and I'm going to stitch all the way around. I don't have to stitch at the bottom because there's a fold down here, but I'll back stitch all the way around. I'll leave a little opening to fold it right side out. And this ends up being the top. It's like a nice, smooth, folded, you know, flat at the top. And so for me, it's just a little easier. I like to do it that way rather than fold over press, fold over press, fold over press, sew all the way around. I don't like all that. And it also makes sure that the back side of the pocket, when you open it up, is really pretty fabric. It's nice that way. So this is my favorite way to do it. So sew this around a 1/4 inch. And we're going to go ahead and start about right here. So I have an opening at the bottom. We'll do reverse stitch when we start. And I'm gonna have to swap out the thread to be green for the next part because I don't want this cream color showing. Had to reduce my thread length. I'm not gonna want the green showing. This won't really show this way when we turn it right side out, but. And then we're gonna backstitch. Ooh. It didn't backstitch. So we don't have to sew this in because it's folded, which is nice. And then I'm going to start here. Okay, and I'm gonna clip my corners here, and we're gonna turn it right side out. Man, this green fabric is so pretty. I wish y'all could really see the shine and shimmer on it. I'm totally gonna make a skirt out of this fabric. It's really, really pretty. Okay, I'm gonna use my chopstick here. Get all the corners poked out. Yeah, this totally reminds me of like prom dress material in the 80s. I think I had a teal prom dress. I think I actually had an emerald green one too. I rented it. Okay. All right, so we're gonna take this to the pressing station. And then we're gonna press this down really nicely. And then that way the other side, the inside of the pocket, just looks really nice and you don't have that ugly part of the fabric showing. So I'm gonna press this all really flat. But if you've got another way you like to make pockets, you do what makes your heart sing, as I like to say. This is just the way kind of I like to do it. And then we're gonna press that under 1/4 of an inch and we're gonna close that hole. We'll close it actually when we stitch it to the bag. And you can do, I'll show you in a minute, we can make it a little fancy by doing like a double top stitch. So let's get that folded under there. This is gonna be the bottom of the pocket inside the bag. I always face it towards the bottom, just because it's not quite as perfect as that folded edge. But I do press it really good so it doesn't come undone while we're stitching it to the lining of the bag. All right. Okay, so now I'm thinking, well, where do I want to place this? Are you the same, Lisa? Yeah, I don't like to open it up and it's like ugly back there. I just was like, ugh. If I'm gonna go to all this work. So that's how I do mine. I just double them over. Okay, so now we need to measure and figure out, how far down do I want it, how far over? And let me see what I wrote down here. I think I put 4 inches down. Let me double check. Yeah, there's 4 inches here. So I'll just kind of come down. Now, what you have to keep in mind is, think about this. This is going to be tucked underneath about 1 inch to the top of the bag. So just don't get it too far up. Get that ruler out of the way. That's 4 inches right here. So I think I'm actually going to come on down. See, this will be, You want to look at where the bottom of your bag is going to be, so you can fold this over and just kind of finger press, or you could even make a mark if you want of where the bottom of the bag's going to be. Right there. To eyeball your pocket. Everybody's kind of got a different place they want it, but 4 to 5 inches down. So that's going to be the bottom right here of the bag. Put the ruler there so you can see where that's going to be to kind of have a frame of reference. Yep, so this is like the bottom here. So what do you want, Bill? You want to do 4 inches? I think I'll do 4. Okay, then we want to make sure that when we measure over on the side that we, you know, come in far enough on the side. So let's make sure we've got that a little more than 4.5. That's 4.5. Gotta come over just a hair. Right. A little more than 4.5 on each side there. Okay, now I'm gonna pin it in a couple of places. I just don't want it to move. So I'm gonna do it on the side, in the middle. Hello, Annette. Are you getting rain in Florida? Man, I tell you. We've had it here in Arkansas. We had the live show go down earlier, so this is like the second version of it. I'm glad you're with us. It's good to see you. All right. So we've got that pin in place. Now we're going to take this over and we're going to stitch it down. I'm going to have to put in my green thread though, because I really want that to really blend. The green thread. So this is the Orifil thread I'm using. And this is their 80 weight thread. And the 80 weight is a bit thinner. And even though it's cotton, it's actually really strong because of the way that the thread is made, if you want to say, for all practical purposes. So I'm learning quite a bit about their thread already. Like I watched some of their educational videos, and I really like it. So this was one of the one in my welcome packets. Now, honestly, I didn't want to wind another bobbin with this color thread, and it's not really going to matter because you're not going to see it on the lining on the underneath, so I'm just going to use black. Or you know what, I actually will just use, I'll use this color that I already had in here. I shouldn't have taken it out. And then we're going to use this 80 weight thread, and that will blend really well. If I had the green and the thicker of it, I would use the thicker so you could see the stitch like really, really well. But that was the only green. I've got more coming, but that was the only green that was in there. And part of our challenge is to use like what was sent, like make it work. So this shade is what's gonna work. All right, I got that threaded. Aw, come on, Belle. Did that break? No. Oh, good. It didn't. Okay. I'm gonna keep mine on a 2 stitch length. Okay. So, with stitching this down, remember this is the bottom here. I keep this towards the bottom of the bag just because that's where that opening is, and sometimes it's not like 100% straight. So, a couple things. You can go ahead and just stitch here and go all the way down, like 1/8 of an inch, all the way up. You could do it a second time, 1/8 of an inch over, and have 2 stitches there if you want. You also can get fancy and you can do 2 at the top, but you've got to do that before you sew it on here, which I didn't do. So I'm gonna unpin this. Good grief, y'all. That's how off I am. I need to mark this so I know exactly where that is when I put it back on there. Let me go grab my clover pin. Sometimes if I'm in a hurry, I won't top stitch the very top of this, but I'm actually gonna mark where this goes so I don't have to measure all that again. I'll mark those corners there. Okay, there we go. All right, set that to the side. Now, this is the part with the fold. I'm actually just gonna go ahead and do like 2 top stitches, one about 1/8 of an inch. And this just makes it look like, I don't know, a little bit more professional. And then I'm gonna come back and do a second one. See, and that thread blends nicely. It's not the exact Kelly green, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna make it work for this challenge. And then I'm just gonna actually line up the edge of my presser foot with where that stitch already is and just make a second top stitch. And that just makes it look really, really nice. Then we're gonna pin it back on the bag and stitch it on. But I have done it without the top stitch. But this fabric deserves, I think, 2 top stitch like that. See, isn't that nice? Because it's a gift. So we did it there on the top. All right, now y'all, let's go back to putting this back on here, lining it up where all of those marks are. Probably can see this a little better from the back camera view. And now I'm gonna pin that back in place. Honestly, the funnest part that I love about the tote is quilting the front / back of the bag. That's my favorite part. All right, so now with this, you're gonna want to back stitch several times up at the top because you know your pocket gets a lot of wear and tear when you open it up. So I've actually turned off my reverse stitch on here, so I manually do it. So I'm gonna come down about I'm gonna do about 1/8 of an inch from the edge, but I'm gonna stitch and then I'm gonna back stitch. A couple of times, just so it's nice and strong. It can be a little tricky sewing with this woven lining, this linen, because it'll want to stretch a little bit. And then we're stitching up that opening there as we come across. We just stitch that up. We'll turn it around here. And I'm going to do a back stitch. A couple times. All right, now we've got that sewn down. I'm going to press it. And we've got our pocket sewn on. Then we'll be able to be ready to assemble it if you weren't quilting the top of it. Let me press this. But because I'm going to be doing a quilting and that's going to take me probably like an hour, I'll do that on another day. See, the woven can kind of shift a little bit, slightly. Okay, there we go. All right. Yeah, Lisa, it does give it some firmness to the top of that pocket there. It definitely does, for sure, for sure. So then we've got our pocket sewn on, okay? So pretend for a moment that this is all quilted. I'm gonna do that this afternoon, like when we're done. I'm gonna get over on the Baby Lock Sashiko and do that, I think. I don't know, do y'all wanna see it? Do you wanna see the Baby Lock doing this, like on a whole separate live? Because this, I've got like a deadline, so I've gotta have this done by Monday. So, I don't know. Could do a whole separate live on using the Baby Lock Sashiko. But pretend it's quilted. This is gonna be right sides down, okay? Like this. Just so you're like, oh, what's gonna come next? Pretend it's quilted. This would have batting, right? Because you've quilted batting. You know, the batting was behind here when you quilted all this like this. Annette, you wanna see the Baby Lock? Okay, I'll make it a live. I'll make it a live. I'll hold off on quilting it today, and I'll do that on maybe Saturday. I'll do that, so I'll save that part for you guys. I'll go ahead and applique another flower. I think I'm gonna put a flower on the back, so it's on both sides for her, so I think I'll do that. I'll do that today, and I'll wait and do a live with the Baby Lock again. So let's, though, pretend, we're just gonna pretend that all of this is quilted, and we'll assemble it another day, but I just wanna give you like a little bit of a teaser on here. So what's gonna happen is this top part up here, you're gonna fold down about 1/4 of an inch and press, okay? And then you're gonna, after you do that, you're gonna fold it, well, actually no, it's about 1/2 an inch. Then you're gonna fold it over without this. We're gonna be folding it over again, about 1/2 an inch. And then what happens is this is tucked underneath that. So pretend this is all folded. This is tucked underneath it with a really pretty fold on it, like that. So just pretend that we've pressed that down and we've folded it and it's all even, okay? I'm just giving you a little peek here at this. We'll have cut our straps, which these are cut at 27 inches. And make sure that it's pretty side down, okay? This is the ugly side, this is the pretty side. And that gets tucked underneath there, all right? And then of course it comes around and we tuck the other end underneath here. Then we go to the machine and we stitch all the way down here. We flip this up like this, the strap, and we stitch another stitch, another top stitch all the way down here, okay? With both of these, pretend both of these are on. And so then your handle is there, like it's on, it's ready to go. And then all we have to do are the sides, the French seams. So ultimately the tote is made with 2 pieces of fabric. They're just a lot longer. So they're a little, I don't know, a little more fussy to cut, I guess, because it's, you know, they're a lot longer and you're cutting from yardage usually. So I like to do that because then you don't have to do the whole, sew the front and back of the lining together, flip it a certain direction. Remember that it goes, the outside of the tote goes inside the lining, you turn it right side out, you leave the hole in the bottom. It's just too many steps for my brain to remember. So this is the way I like to do it, right? Pre-recording with the weather. Supposedly it wasn't supposed to rain today. I don't think we're gonna have any more rain. We're not supposed to, so I could pre-record it. I absolutely could pre-record it, but I don't know. We'll see. Either I'll pre-record it or I'll do a live. Maybe we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Anyway, so that's kind of how this is put together. And then when you just pretend that it's done, you're gonna have it like this, and we'll make the box corners so that there's room in the bag like to hold stuff. It'll be like this wide in the bottom, okay? Shelly, you want a Baby Lock Sashiko? Yeah, the story behind mine is I sold some jewelry that I never wore, and I was like, you know what, I don't want to put it on the credit card. We don't want to take money out of savings. So I sold some jewelry, and it's well worth it because I used the machine more than I ever wore that jewelry. But there's a link in, well, none of that's in this description box. We'll have to put it in for you because we had to just blow up this live stream really quickly. I'll have Quilt Husband drop the link for you in there. my friends at Sewing Machines Plus, he's an online dealer. If you don't have a local dealer, a local baby lock dealer, you can go through Sewing Machines Plus, and he always has his machines, especially this one, cheaper than any place I've ever seen, and they have really good customer service. So that's just an option. It's usually, when he sells it, it's usually under $2,500. I got mine for $1,600 when I got mine back in 2021, I think. So it was a really, really good deal. And that was at my local baby lock dealer. But I'm gonna use this really pretty yellow, this is 28 weight thread in the machine, because the stitches are gonna show better. So I'm gonna give this a whirl. I had thought about using the, the name's just left me, the thread that's got multiple colors in it. I thought of using that, but I'm afraid it's a little too thin. Even though it's 50 weight, it's not as thick as this, so I'm not going to use it. It's got a little bit of orange in it, but anyway. And then I've also got, and this is a perfect match, I thought about doing a little bit of some, maybe a little something in here with like some handwork. I don't know. I'm not sure on that one yet, but I do need to figure it out, because if I'm going to do that, I need to do any of that stitching before I put the bag together, if I'm going to do a little extra. I sometimes will combine the Baby Lock Sashiko stitches with putting this in I have a semi-industrial Juki that handles 12 weight thread really well. You just have to go slow. And so I thought about combining the two in there, of maybe doing this stitch, the stitch that's actually on the flower, and on here of doing that with the machine, my regular Juki, because your Baby Lock Sashiko won't work with this 12 weight thread. You're not supposed to go any bigger. Variegated. Thank you, Lisa. It's like, I was trying to think of, I was gonna say segregated. I'm like, that is not the right word. That's another example where Belle's brain doesn't pull the words out right sometimes. Anyway, the Baby Lock Sashiko, you cannot use this thicker weight thread, like 8 weight, 12 weight. The most you can use is this 30 weight, or it's 30 weight in most other brands, but Orfil is 28 weight, and it's basically the same. So I'm gonna use this, I think, but I may do a little extra in it. Okay, y'all, that is where we're gonna stop today. Whew, what a day, between the other video going down and picking up here. So I'll change the thumbnail on this one to say part 2 of part 1, so that those of you that are finding this recording later on that weren't here with the rest of us can realize what happened. There's actually 2 parts to part 1 because the storm knocked everything out. And then I'll do another one of just the Baby Lock Sashiko, of me quilting this whole front and this whole back. It's all one piece. So I'm going to quilt all of that, and then we'll be ready to assemble it on a 3rd video, where we'll assemble our tote. Okay? Well, actually, technically it would be a 4th video, because this is like part 2 of part 1. What an ordeal. Oh yeah, Lisa, I know, we've all been there, right? You guys are the most understanding bunch. I appreciate it. Okay, y'all. Well, I'm excited to put this together. I'm so excited, and I hope she loves it so much. And I will probably be making more of these with just the flower. I just love it. Okay. Cool husband, it says OBS Studio is disconnected. Now it's reconnected. Okay. Hopefully y'all can hear me still. We'll see. Y'all, it's just crazy. I don't know what's going on with the system, but okay, so we'll plan on doing a live. I'll put a thumbnail up for when the live's gonna be. It may be tomorrow evening. I don't know. We'll just have to see. I've got some other work to do tomorrow with my other business, so we'll figure it out, all right? Okay, quilty friends, stay safe. It's dark here. We got storms going on. I hope that you guys don't have any damage or anything if it's coming your way. The weather's causing my video to repeat what I say. Okay, y'all, I'm sorry, friends. We're gonna go ahead and just cut it off here, and we will see you for the next live, okay? All right, quilty friends, until next time, make lovely things.